Emerson. Today is Tuesday, November 12th, and today our favorite fitness expert, Kaleigh Crowell, is here to show Anthony and I how to work on our fitness during the cold winter months.
And from MVP to MTV, Big Papi David Ortiz will be producing his own TV show. Maggie and I will discuss that.
I'm Maggie Morlath.
And I'm Anthony Chasse. Welcome to Good Morning Emerson.
On our show today, we'll be starting off the top of the show with Brittany discussing the typhoon that devastated the Philippines and the recovery that the Philippines will be going through.
One of the biggest tragedies the world has seen in a long time. This will be an ongoing story for quite a while. We look forward to the updates on that. But after that, we have a great interview with Nick de Canal. He is running a special Hunger Games event at Emerson. This is the second time it's happened, and it's going to be more real than ever, but hopefully not too real.
That's right, and Nick is president of the 2015 Class Council, so we are honored to have him on the show today. But big news today, we do have snow here in Boston. If you've walked outside yet, you would know that we've got a little flurries going on. So Mal will be talking to us a little bit more about that later.
It's getting chilly. Nothing's sticking yet, which is, bad news for the snow day hopefuls out there. But we'll hear more about the impending snowstorm from Mal. First, let's go to Brittany at the news desk for the stories you need to know.
Hey, thanks guys. Across the nation yesterday, Americans celebrated Veterans Day with parade ceremonies and a number of other events. President Obama visited the Arlington National Cemetery for the annual wreath-laying ceremony, saying the country's veterans' self-sacrifice and devotion will never be forgotten. Earlier that morning, the president held a White House breakfast for all invited veterans and their families. Veterans living in Boston also had the chance to attend some free events too. The Franklin Park Zoo had free admission for all veterans yesterday, and a number of other parades around the greater Boston area kicked off in remembrance for those who sacrificed their lives for the country. Survivors of the deadliest typhoon to ever hit land struggled with what remains after the country suffered its deadliest natural disaster. Authorities are saying at least 2 million people were affected by Friday's typhoon. The estimated death toll of 10,000 is expected to rise as rescuers continue to search for survivors. Even though authorities evacuated 800,000 people before the storm hit, many evacuation centers could not withstand the 170-mile-per-hour winds and water surges. Philippine President Benigno Aquino is considered declaring a state of emergency for the area. This would include curfews, food supply controls, and military police checkpoints. The typhoon inflicted serious damage to at least 6 islands in the Philippines. Nearly 1,000 people have been confirmed dead so far. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says Iran was unable to accept a nuclear deal. Kerry said that United States and other world powers had reached a tentative Iranian nuclear agreement in Geneva over the weekend, but it was a deal Iran could not sign off on. But Secretary of State also reassured the country's commitment to Israel. He said the U.S. will not allow Iran to develop a nuclear weapon. Kerry says he is confident with what the country is doing can effectively protect Israel from an attack. Now, moving on to local news, it was one of the Mayor-elect's Marty Walsh's biggest campaign promises, longer tea hours. Now, advocates are pushing Walsh to back up his words with action. In July, state legislators passed a transportation finance law to extend weekend hours, and the Tea Oversight Committee is coming up with ways to encourage students to buy discounted passes. Now, Walsh has said before he is a strong proponent of extending tea hours late into the night, but it does come with a huge price tag. Just replacing subways with buses for a few hours on the weekends could cost as much as $2 million every year. But if Walsh announces his support for the program, we could be seeing the tea service in the early hours of the morning very soon. Now, that's all the news I have for you this morning. Back to you on the couch.
Now, Brittany, there are a lot of stories coming out of sheer panic in the Philippines where people are actually looting local businesses and things like that. What relief efforts are actually getting through to the victims?
Well, this morning, Britain announced that they will be sending a ship over to help change salt water into drinking or proper drinking water for survivors, so they'll be able to have that. But they also announced they're giving $25 million to relief efforts. The U.S. has already given $20 million, which is great, so we have a lot of money coming into these relief efforts. So hopefully soon, we're still trying to get an idea of the amount of disaster that happened over in the Philippines, but soon we'll be able to start that road of recovery.
Now, on a bit of a lighter note, as a student, I am very excited that there could be later tea hours. But why is this important for the city of Boston?
Well, a lot of people think that, just later tea service hours are for college students, but really it's for everybody. I mean, if you think about it, bars here are open until 2 a.m., so you see a lot of people just stay until the early hours in the morning, and then they have to catch a really expensive taxi back, or they have to walk back in the cold weather that we're having. So, it could really, benefit everyone in the city.
Thank you so much, Brittany. So winter is over a month away, but there's already snow here. Mal, what's going on with this weather?
And good morning to you, Anthony and Maggie. We saw some interesting weather this weekend, and we saw it again this morning. We had some rain, then hail, and then now snow, and we might be getting some more later on today. Right now, it's 37 degrees. Later on, we're looking at a high of just 39. On top of that, more snow flurries coming on later in the afternoon, so be sure to bundle up, especially with wind gusts of up to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, sunset is set for 4:25. Temperatures will begin to fall after that, down to a low of 31. Wind gusts still at 15 miles per hour to make it feel even cooler out. Clear skies for the rest of the night. And that will help us out tomorrow. The sun will come back, which we'll need because we're looking at a high of just 38. Wind speeds again at 10 to 15 miles per hour, making for a wind chill of about 25 degrees. At night, clear skies with a low of 33. Now let's take a look at Boston's 5-day weather forecast. Good news, on Thursday, temperatures will jump back up with a high of 50 degrees. A few clouds here and there, but mostly sunny. During the evening, the skies will stay mostly clear with a low of 34 around the city. Friday, bit of a mixed bag with partially cloudy skies, but a high of 53 at night, low of 36 with the clouds out in full force. But you might want to make some outside plans for the weekend. It could get up to 56 degrees on Saturday with partially cloudy skies. And of course, I'll have more on your weekend forecast on Thursday. With your local weather, I'm Mal Meyer. Back over to you guys.
Thanks, Mal. We are now joined by Nick de la Canal, president of the class of 2015. The class council is organizing the second annual Real Life Hunger Games. Nick, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Sure. So if you've read the books or seen the movies, you know the real life Hunger Games involve a lot of violence. How can you transpose a really cool story into sort of a playground game or something that's safe for college students?
Well, as much as I would love to hold like a real life Hunger Games where people are actually killing them, and don't get me wrong, this is a blood sport. Last year someone went to the hospital for this.
No. Oh, no.
But for the most part, this is just kind of like a glorified flag football game. So, last year the kind of rules were you had to get your flag pulled, get your shirt marked on with a marker, get your balloon popped, and then you were dead. And as you got closer to the cornucopia, there were like marker swords and cardboard shields. So that's kind of the idea behind it.
Cool.
What was your inspiration for creating the event? I know you heard about it from another school.
Yeah, one of my friends actually goes to Virginia Tech, and I know that their Office of Housing and Residence Life did something similar down there. And so I kind of took that idea and I was like, I want to bring that to Emerson because I feel like Emerson would really, really appreciate this idea. So so we started it up last year, and then actually this year we're doing it again. This is our second annual, and actually at the castle, one of my friends, Dennis Connors, is starting up the first Hunger Games overseas, I guess.
Basically, the districts coming together.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
So there will be one winning district. Am I correct? Are you following the rules with the two members from?
That's right. Well, the whole event is actually a fundraiser. So it is the Hunger Games, but we're trying to raise money for the Greater Boston Food Bank to like end hunger, right? Kind of cute like that.
Like it.
So in order to get your name into the reaping, you have to donate either one canned good or $1. And then from the reaping, we will select 24 tributes, and there will be a champion, yes.
And is there a prize for that champion?
Yes, actually. If you win, you get 2 tickets to Catching Fire, which comes out later this month. And
that's not a bad deal.
I think it's IMAX and 3D, so
awesome.
Like the real deal.
And how can students sign up for the event?
So we'll be tabling outside the dining hall every day this week between 6 and 8, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, you can catch me or one of the other members of the Class Council 2015.
Is there anything we should do to prepare ourselves for this event?
Training, I would assume, I think. Lots of exercising. Yeah, this is real life Hunger Games.
And it can go on for a while too. I remember last year I was at the event and there was a lot of waiting, a lot of anticipation, sort of feeling out everybody's movements, and then you.
That's true, but when people strike, they strike fast.
Oh,
so.
Yeah.
All right, so this event is Saturday?
Yes, that's right. Saturday on the Boston Common on the softball field. starting at 2 o'clock.
And one more question, where'd you get your sweater, Nick?
I knit this sweater myself. It's
Yes,
taken me
I
2
did.
years, so.
All right, well, we have to go to a commercial break. This is Nick de Canal. He is the master of the Hunger Games. You got to check it out.
When we come back, we'll be discussing Big Papi's surprising plans for the off-season.
Welcome back to Good Morning Emerson. The world cannot get enough of David Ortiz, Big Papi, and Boston is surely celebrating the news that he is going to be producing his own show at the MLB Fan Cave. It will air on MTV. We're pretty excited for this.
That's right. Big Papi, David Ortiz, and Andrew McCutcheon, who is with the Pittsburgh Pirates, will be together executive producing this show for MTV2. We're really curious to see if these guys are just going to be names on the show or if they're actually going to get down and do the dirty work.
Exactly. It's kind of funny for us to talk about because, you know, we go through the motions of creating TV each week here at Emerson. You know, we put rundowns together. We oversee segments. Can Big Papi actually do these things, or can he just put his name on the credits and throw a couple dollars at the show? That's the
It's hard
question
to
that I
say,
have.
but no matter what, I really think that this is going to do some really awesome things for baseball. Because some people say it's a dying sport. I don't like to think that, but
Yeah.
this show could really, really bring some interest back to the youth.
Yeah, I think these guys definitely do appeal to a younger audience. You know, the kids look up to these guys, especially, you know, the MTV's audience is an audience that might not be used to baseball, but once you see these guys, you might say, oh, maybe I'll check out the game, you know, once in a while now that I've made a connection with this character almost. I don't know if they're going to be on the show, but just having their names associated with it,
Right,
you know,
and
makes them a part of it.
Big Papi was really excited for this opportunity because he's been known for his interest in music himself. I mean, we saw him on the parade route. He
That's
had his
right.
own band, his own DJ on a big flatbed. So music is definitely one of his interests. And I know that this show is supposed to be showcasing different players who also have musical talents and musical interests.
We have a couple of our favorites. I like the Bronson Arroyo album. Actually, he does a bunch of great guitar covers of my favorite songs. He was a pitcher for the Red Sox.
That's true. There's so many players who you didn't even know have so much musical talent. I know I grew up listening to a Bernie Williams CD, Bernie Williams from the Yankees, so that's pretty interesting. And it's this kind of stuff that you don't know, and I think this show is actually going to showcase these players and their musical talent.
It will be the first show I ever actually follow on MTV, I'll tell you that much. But now it's time to check in on my favorite current reality show, the GME Sports segment with Mike Cantalupo.
Keeping up with the Cantalupos. Who are these Celtics, and what did you do with the misguided bunch of misfits we saw the first 4 games of the season? Boston has won 3 straight after their 0-4 start to the season, including Saturday night when they took down the Big Three of the Miami Heat 111 to 110. Last night, they looked to get back to 500 against the Orlando Magic. Military personnel in the audience looking to enjoy some Veterans Day fun. Second quarter here, Jameer Nelson drives and dishes it to Jason Maxiell for the slam. Magic down 4. Now we take it to the third quarter. Celtics up 9. Gerald Wallace leading the break and finds Brandon Bass down low for the two-handed slam. Celtics go up double digits. And then later, Celtics up 9 again. Here's Olynyk with the hair. Man with the hair. 3-point drains the 3. Olynyk had 16 points. Celtics win 120 to 105. Now the Celtics aren't the only Boston area team that picked it up of late. The Bruins won 2 straight against the Panthers, and the Maple Leafs going into yesterday afternoon's matinee against the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Bruins won 3-0, but it was a much bigger loss for the Lightning than it was a win for the Bruins. Not only did the Lightning fall to 12-5, star forward Steven Stamkos was carted off the ice in the second period of the game with a severe leg injury. Coming into the game, Stamkos was tied with Pittsburgh's Sidney Crosby for the NHL lead in goals. No word on how long he will be out for, but looking at the injury, it looks like he can miss some significant time. Now, the Patriots had the week off, but Week 10 was a great one for the NFL. The winless Jaguars picked up their first win of the season against the Titans, and the Saints set a record for the most first downs ever recorded in an NFL game with 40 against the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday night. The Dolphins responded to all the locker room controversy and negative national media attention last night against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's look how they did. Dolphins owner Steve Ross speaks to the media for the first time since the controversy. Here's Mike Glennon to the big man, defensive tackle turned tight end, Donald Penn. Who? What? How does that happen? Fourth quarter here, Dolphins actually scored 19 straight points until Bobby Rainey, fourth string running back, who again runs this one into the score and then later scores. He was cut by the Browns 3 weeks ago. Now we take it late in the fourth. Ryan Tannehill trying to get a late drive here, but you can't throw the football if you don't have any time to throw the football. Dolphins lose 22-19. Now that's all I have for sports. Back to you guys.
All right, Mike, the NFL season always seems to come down to the wire, but we're at the halfway point now, so are you starting to get a look at that playoff picture?
Right, if we want to look at the AFC, I mean, we could almost pretty much assume that the Chiefs and the Broncos are going to take the first slot and the fifth slot. So that leaves one wild card spot open. And right now, the Jets hold it at 5-4, but then there's a slew of 4 and 5 teams. There's the Dolphins, there's the Chargers, there's the Titans. There's a bunch of teams out there that can make a run. So that sixth spot is really wide open right now.
All right, well, thank you, Mike. That's enough about New England, but I'd like to hear from the great state of Alaska, and I do believe that Christian Mudrick has a story about our fellow American, Sarah Palin. So, Christian, what do you have for us today?
Thanks, guys. More on Sarah Palin later, but first, Leonardo DiCaprio partied like Jay Gatsby at his 39th birthday celebration this past Sunday. The swoon-inducing actor's birthday was on Monday, but started early with a 100-person party at a club in downtown New York. And get this, instead of a generic, lame happy birthday from 100 of his closest friends, Kanye West and 2 Chainz gave their own personal rendition. And on top of that, DiCaprio also raised millions of dollars for charity when he auctioned off props from The Great Gatsby film and an expensive custom-made champagne. Maybe for his 40th, he'll resurrect Tupac and Biggie for a reunion show. Now we turn our eyes to Alaska for the next story. Sarah Palin has admitted that she does not approve of Levi Johnston, the father of her grandson. Bristol Palin and Johnston have been in a custody battle over their son Tripp, and Johnston just filed a petition to raise his custody to an even 50%. Sarah Palin has gotten involved in opposition of Johnston, who owes the Palins over $66,000 in child support. Palin was recently recorded calling Johnston a deadbeat dad, to which I imagine Johnston would reply, "You're a deadbeat politician." I'm calling it, Justin Bieber should just give up on Brazil already. First we catch him tagging a hotel, then he's attacked by a water bottle, then we catch him stepping out of a brothel, and now he has explosive diarrhea. That's right, Justin Bieber waltzed off stage last night after contracting some food poisoning. Maybe he shouldn't have eaten that sort of gray chicken from that shady Brazilian restaurant. No word has been released on any sort of compensation for the half show that he gave, but considering the majority of the audience paid an average of $320 to see him, I'm sure his fans aren't too happy. And as if Miley Cyrus couldn't be more of a rebel, the girl just broke the world record for being the most self-indulgent, attention-seeking harlot. At the European Music Awards, and I'm sure you know where I'm going with this, but Miley Cyrus had yet another controversial run-in, where the singer literally lit up a joint on stage on live television. Ironically, Cyrus performed twice without actually offending anybody, and it wasn't until she accepted the award for Best Video that she decided to blaze up in celebration. YOLO, I guess. That's all the juicy gossip I have for you today. Back to you guys on the couch.
Miley just can't be tamed. Do you think that Miley receive a subpoena for her actions?
Probably not. She was in Amsterdam when she was partaking in those Epicurean pleasures, but I'm just glad that she's finally traded twerking for something else, like toking.
Thanks, Christian. Well, it looks like Justin Bieber hasn't been taking care of himself.
Stay tuned. When we come back, Kaleigh will be showing us how to stay healthy during the winter. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, Kaleigh here. Hope you're all feeling healthy and happy. But if not, here are some easy tips on how to avoid those winter colds and college stress.
My name is M. Beaver, and I'm a dietitian here in an outpatient floating hospital for children. So I see a wide range of kids that need some nutrition support. I think that it's really important to reprioritize when you're in college. because the things that get priorities oftentimes exclude things like sleep and eating well, taking care of our bodies. When our sleep is disturbed, that actually affects the hormones that control our signaling of when we're full and when we're hungry. So when we disrupt our sleep patterns, we can find ourselves stress eating more often, weight gain, and then with more weight, we tend not to move as much.
So when you're stressed out, give yourself a mental break. Listen to music, do your laundry, take a shower, or even watch a 30-minute sitcom. Anything short and sweet so you can jump right back into your work.
For many college students, sleeping, eating, and exercising just keep dropping, and they're lower and lower, and socializing and having fun and partying go up in terms of priorities. There's a way to balance it all. I'm not saying don't party, but know that in order for you to feel good and have a good quality of life, these other things like exercise, nutrition, and sleep have to be higher up.
So when you find yourself seeping into the deep abyss of homework and studying, or you think you might just get sick, try out some of these techniques. See you in studio, Anthony and Maggie.
And now Kaleigh is here with us in studio to give us another dose of workout routines that we can do right in our dorms.
That's right. So obviously it's getting colder, it's snowing out. You may not want to make that walk all the way down to the little building to work out. So these are some exercises you can do right in the warmth of your own room.
Perfect.
So obviously everyone has a desk chair, right?
Pretty simple prop. I think we can handle it.
There's a lot of stuff I like to do with this. My favorite thing is chair dips. So all you do is put your hands on the edge of the chair and you put your feet straight out, and then you just dip your butt down.
Okay.
And it really works your shoulders and your arms. You do as many as you can.
Sounds easy, but we're gonna have to test this out for real.
Looks easy, but we'll find out.
Trying to keep the legs straight.
Yep. Looks good.
Okay.
You guys feel that in your arms?
Feel it already?
It's like a backwards push-up almost. You're like working different muscles like that.
It's cool, and everyone has a chair pretty much everywhere, so you can do these whenever.
You try to keep your body as straight as possible, right?
Exactly. Do as many of those as you can.
All right.
And then if you want to work your calf muscles a little bit, you just find a spot in your room. All you do is lift your heels off the ground and put them back down. It's really easy.
Not too bad.
You can hold them up as long as you want, and you can put them back down again. You can do quicker reps.
Yeah, I can feel it. I mean, your whole body is basically on your calves when you're on your toes.
Exactly.
Definitely one of those things that I think over time you begin to feel kick in.
For sure, and they're definitely beneficial in the long run. So if you have more space, maybe clear your books away from all that studying.
Of course.
You can do some lunges right in your room. So you just take your right leg, step forward, try not to push your knee over your toes, and just bend your back knee and bring it almost to the ground, but not quite touching.
Okay.
And something that I like to do with these is stay low and then pump them out.
They just bounce a little?
I think I've been doing it wrong because I'm always trying to move forward, but it's more
Try taking a bigger
down.
step and then put your center right down to the ground. Yep.
Perfect.
And then you can try your left leg. You guys feeling that? In
Yeah,
your legs?
definitely feeling
And you can pump them out there too.
And again, like you said, just something that do as many as you can, as many as you have time for.
Exactly. So if you want to start doing some floor exercises, everyone loves a good plank, right?
You don't love it, but you need it. You basically need it.
It's true. You can plank right on your floor.
Hit the deck.
You can watch a movie while you're doing this. You can text.
I like to keep my little iPhone clock right there and just set it to a minute, and that way, I have my own personal trainer right here.
Exactly.
Yeah, sometimes you got to distract yourself a little bit too.
And you don't even notice that you're working out.
Yeah.
I noticed it already.
If you want, you can do the side plank. You can maybe reach your arm up to help align your body. And then you can even put that arm straight down and then reach up.
Yeah.
It really works the stabilizer muscles in your shoulder. Your arm is even gonna shake.
It's like a yoga pose.
That's when you know. Oh yeah.
Definitely feel the strength in this pose.
If you're also feeling incredibly ambitious, you can put your feet on your bed and your arms on your roommate's bed.
Ooh, I like that.
And you can plank across there.
I like the idea of that.
Now, while we're still on the ground, why don't we do some Supermans? Do you guys know what those are?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so put your tummy on the ground.
Okay.
And you put your arms and legs straight out and you just lift.
This is the correct way to Superman.
So you look like Superman, right?
Are you gonna actually physically look like Superman after you do these?
If you do them long enough.
Get those abs.
Yep, so the higher you lift your arms and legs, the more you'll feel it. You can hold that for as long as you can. Challenge yourself. Maybe put them down, pick them back up again for as long as you can.
All right, my
Definitely
back
feel
muscles
it.
are going to be bulging.
Feel it in my hiney, that's for sure.
And when you guys are done with those, if you want to work your arms really quick, a really kind of interesting technique is taking canned goods. And you can do some reps with those like that. And
raising my
Okay.
surprisingly, you actually feel it.
Wow.
The bigger grips, like those big baked beans cans, maybe.
Yeah. So you can amp up your exercise depending on whatever kind of can you want, right?
Exactly.
All right, thanks, Kaleigh. If you're, watching in the dorm room, you could just right now get your day started with some easy moves. But that's all the time we have for this show today.
Be sure to tune in on Thursday when we'll be rocking out with Wunderbar in studio.